Happy New Year, Pisces. Happy New Year to you and yours. And you're a bit of a star in 2023 because a major planet makes a major shift into your sign, which will naturally bring major things. If you would like to know how this will directly affect you, you would like a personalized or detailed reading, you can find me at my Etsy shop under Guru Grit. More information in the description box below this video. So let's begin. What did I mean by giant this and giant that? Well, the big daddy of the solar system and astrology, Saturn is going to move into your sign, leaving your 12th house and entering Pisces for 2.5 years from March the 7th all the way until May in 2025. So what can you expect when Saturn goes into your sign? Well, you can definitely start to rethink your life. Saturn has a lot to do with our survival and primal needs, so letting go of what doesn't need to be there anymore. Saturn will pretty much make or break anything in your life. Therefore, if there's something that you would like to achieve, now is really the time to get to work. Do not be surprised if there are delays and setbacks and unexpected challenges. It's all right. But in the end, you will be able to reap the rewards of all of your efforts. If something leaves your life in that window, so be it. It wasn't meant to stay. If something comes and it does, then enjoy it. It's going to be a long-lasting bond, whether it's romantic, professional, or otherwise. So until early March, try to get as much rest and sleep as you can. Really take good care of yourself. You will need that energy for the next few years to start building on your future. In terms of health, when Saturn goes into our rising sign or over our moon, because the rising sign is the body, and if you're a Pisces ascendant, then you can expect to feel a little bit fatigued, tired, maybe some aches and pains from computer usage or reading too much, too many video games, something along those lines. Little chronic things that kind of tend to nag you here and there. Now, in terms of what it could mean for you in terms of relationships, it will aspect your 7th house. So naturally, if you meet someone during this time, they can remain in your life for quite a while. Actually, I've marked Pisces as one of the 4 signs where love is a big highlight for you. And I'm not surprised at all because the 1st house has a lot to do with the roads we walk in our lifetime, what's destined for us. And Saturn is a planet of karma. So we're going to use the next few years to really plant the seeds and build the foundations for what your future can look like. And if we're considering what you want to work towards, rethinking of getting rid of what you'd like to keep, thinking of what you'd actually like to get, then it makes a lot of sense to start putting in that work now. And don't hold back because you will get what you ask for. But make sure that you really work for it and don't be lazy, and certainly no cutting corners. So when Saturn makes his transit in early March, as I said, he will aspect the 7th, and it can be a lovely thing for experiencing a long-lasting partnership. If you're in a partnership, it's not really working out, then the next 2.5 years, there could be some restructuring within that partnership. You might split up, but if you stay together, you might have a different flair to your relationship or a different way of doing things. So if you're looking for independence, career, position of power, or some form of self-employment, Saturn is here pushing you to break free from the old and take on something new or something more challenging. It's birthing a spirit of independence within you. And in terms of money, this is actually really great because we open the year with Jupiter still in your 2nd house in the sign of Aries for the first 4.5 months until May the 15th, whereas May the 16th, he goes into your 3rd house. In July, we also have the North Node entering your 2nd house of the money that you make yourself, your assets. It rules like our piggy banks, and for me, it would rule my swear jar. So we've definitely got a lot of emphasis on the financial areas of your life, Pisces. Therefore, consider that the ruler of the 2nd, which is Mars, as Mars rules Aries, is in your 4th house, retrograding until January the 13th and in Gemini until March the 13th. So do not go overboard splashing your cash mindlessly and flipping out, flip this and flip that. But that's not it. For the 2nd house, the sign of Aries is also going to experience a total solar eclipse in late April on the 20th at 29 degrees of Aries. Now, wow, this is pretty sensational. So a lot of emphasis for the year for you in terms of money, assets. Be sure to check in on your parents because the second house is our immediate family. And as we open the year with the ruler retrograding, not a bad idea just to see how they're all doing and how they are. In terms of health, do take care of any kind of sugary indulgences and not screening your intimate partners thoroughly if you're single or active. You may find this year a good time to get some work done on your appearance surgically or heal something that's been going on. So it's a good time to heal your gut health in particular if you're interested in doing that. I did mention earlier that Jupiter will be going into your third house of Taurus on May the 16th, and he will remain there until May of 2024. So for one whole year, this is on the axis of writing. You might write something, put it out in the world, start a Twitter account, blog, a book. Why? Because the ninth house, which is the opposite and being aspected by Jupiter, rules publishing. So please put some work out there if you want the world to see what you can do. You can do well in studying or earning a certificate to advance in your career at this time, taking on some new training for a new job, which can really help you excel. It's also excellent for traveling, taking some kind of short trips, bed and breakfast, some sort of local sightseeing, having staycations, as they say. It's generally a really good placement for paperwork, academia, and being active in general. I wouldn't rule out taking on some kind of like a dance class, as Jupiter is the ruler of Pisces. If we put the first ruler in the third, it naturally tends to make a person pretty brave. So if you've been thinking of striking out on your own, from a relationship, starting a business, having your own sense of independence, moving out, moving to a new country, the second half of the year can really give you that push and give you that fire so that you can go ahead and go for that. Now, I also did mention that we did open the year with Mars in the fourth house retrograding still. When he moves direct, even when he's retrograde, but because he's been there for such a long time, normally Mars doesn't spend that much time in a single sign, but he's been in your fourth house in total. By the time he leaves, it would have been about 6 to 7 months. You could have had to invest in some repairs to your home or your car. So just bear in mind that money should hopefully come back to you because you have so much emphasis on finances during this year. One last thing, if you are partnered, when the South Node goes through the 8th house, the spouse might experience a decrease in their pay or what they make, or something can change in terms of their material circumstances, which I suppose makes sense because you're going to be on the up and up. So in any case, it's looking like a really, really good year for you. And of course, I've left some good tidbits for the very end. I said to spiritualize, really spiritualize. When Saturn goes into the first house, it can make a person a little bit more low or melancholy, reflective, deep, pensive, I think would be the best word. So if you're feeling like reflecting a lot about life, being a little bit more philosophical, this could really help. And I mean, you're Pisces, so do you need to be told to be more spiritual? I think not. In any case, summer is a really good time to restructure relationships. As I said, leave ones that are not working. If you wish to be single, it's a great time. If you wish to be partnered, if you're looking for love, you really can find that. And you will actually manage to find some pretty serious prospects this year. The second half of the year, as I said, is more favorable. You will also experience a cycle of eclipses, the last ones that wrap up the two that we had in 2022 on the axis of Taurus and Scorpio. As you know, Scorpio rules your ninth house, and ninth does have to do with things I mentioned earlier: belief, travel, publishing, legalities, institutions, etc. But it's also the condition of one's marriage. And in May, we will have the last eclipse taking place there in Scorpio. And so you can see some more movement around marriage conversations, as I mentioned, studying, traveling, taking long distance trips, returning to education, taking on some kind of training, or increasing your skill set to be better able to approach your work with the intent to have a much stronger trajectory and more momentum in terms of earning power. So I really do see that for you. One last thing I would definitely like to make mention of is that you're going to have Venus in your 6th house for quite a long time. Now, Venus usually doesn't spend so much time in a single sign, but once in a while, of course, it does happen. She's going to be in the sign of Leo from early June to early October. And in the 6th house of Leo, She can help you with certain things. Venus is a healer, and the sixth is the house of exercise, self improvement, healing, service to others. It rules our pets, so you might attract a new pet. I encourage that you adopt, of course. You could do that. And the sixth is also money that we owe or debts that we incur, which makes perfect sense when looking at the transit chart for Pisces, because if I keep saying you might study more, you might travel more, well, those things tend to cost money. But with benefic Venus in the sixth, it looks like you will spend money to make money, or that you will manage to pay back those debts or loans that you incur in order to learn, to travel, to see the world, or hey, even to fall in love. So that is looking very, very beautiful for you. As I mentioned, also another thing is to be mindful of any kind of impulsive spending, as she is your eighth ruler going into the sixth house. It can cause some kind of sudden need to purchase something. As I did say with the Mars in the fourth, something could happen. I mean, touch wood, but something could happen to, let's say, like your vehicle, or you need to change your tires or something. And then that could be something that causes a minor debt or an expense to be incurred. But it looks with benefic Venus there, it could be quite helpful. Now, as Venus is naturally the sign of relationships, and I did mention that she does rule your eighth house, then naturally it's looking like you could meet someone quite spontaneously through your work. Okay, because the sick or work or things that you do daily on the regular. If you walk the same path, if that's your routine, if you often frequent, I mentioned exercise. It could be at the gym or a dance class, fencing, whatever you do. Or, is self-improvement in general, at a seminar, at a conference, a spiritual center, meditation room, yoga, something to that effect as possible. Some sort of humanitarian work or volunteer work as well. Well, Pisces, I really hope that you enjoyed it. Make sure that you watch for your rising sign and moon to get a good feel for the year. As always, I wish you all the best. Thank you so much, and bye-bye for now.